Thank you, Dwayne. Meeting come to order here for our July 21st board meeting. Appreciate each one being here this morning. Before we get started, we would like to welcome our Chancellor Clerk. A happy birthday. So happy birthday, Mr. Lott. Made it another good year.
Happy birthday.
All right. We're not going to ask him the age. We're just going to keep that at 39 and move it forward. So, but anyway,
Double that, you come close.
there you go. Also, if you would, just take a couple of minutes and a couple of seconds and put your cell phone on silent would be appreciated as well. As always, we will open up in a word of prayer and say a pledge, and we're going to have Mr. Adam Gates with Watkins and Eagle come up and say a prayer this morning, followed by Mr. Will Sly with a pledge. So if you would, let's all please stand. Adam?
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for blessing our county like you have. Please continue to do so and help us to remember that with whom much is given, much is expected. Lord, please give these public servants wisdom and energy to serve well. And finally, Lord, we just ask that the meeting proceed effectively and efficiently. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Will?
Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Will. All right, Mr. Lott.
Yes, Mr. President, should have before you the July the 7th board minutes. I would ask if there are no changes, the board please approve said minutes.
All right, are there any changes anyone would like to make? If not, do I have a motion for approval?
Motion to approve.
Motion for Supervisor Griffin, do I have a second? Second for Supervisor Brandon, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Thank you.
Concerned citizens?
None.
Not any concerned citizens? Anyone like to speak that's in the audience at this point? If not, we'll move down to schedule of matters of business. Sunnybrook Homes, Mr. Espy, Adam, you'd like to come up? Adam, appreciate you opening us up in a word of prayer this morning.
Thank you, sir. It was an honor. I will be brief. Mr. Espy and I have spoken, and Mr. Steen and I have spoken, but I realize that the other members of the board may not be familiar with this matter. So I'm Adam Gates with Watkins and Eagle. We represent Sunnybrook Children's Home. This concerns the tax exemption of 3 parcels in Flora. It's just basically cleaning something up. So back in 2021, Sunnybrook asked that these 3 parcels be exempt at a December 6th meeting. Mr. Espy, as he should, pointed out that the application needed to be complete along with the charter for Sunnybrook Children's Home. But Mr. Banks said, well, you don't have to come back, the executive director at the time, you don't have to return for the December 20th meeting, just provide the charter, the applications will be complete, the property will be exempt. That afternoon, the executive director provided the charter by email, but the current administrator at the time only applied it to, there were 2 applications, only applied it to 1 application through simple oversight. I can go into more why I think that might have happened, but at this point, it's basically irrelevant. And then in so that's the end of 21. They get a notice in 22, and the executive director checks with Mr. Vance to say, hey, I thought this was taken care of. This is the end of 22. Mr. Vance is no longer here. He retired that summer. Mr. Espy was copied. He looked into it, said, he sniffed out the error at the beginning, but we didn't quite find it. He said, I think this is an error. We'll look into it. Through another series of just oversights, and not just by the board, but the executive director could have followed up perhaps a little bit more carefully, but it was not discovered in 23 until the end of 23 when another tax notice showed up. Then Sunnybrook shows up here, February of 24, gets the other 2 parcels granted exempt. But we have the matter of 22 and 23, when 2 of the 3 parcels were taxed due to the oversight. So we were able to figure that. We got a notice that the 2 parcels were going to be up for sale next month. And that's when I got called So I spent some time on the website figuring out what might have happened, went through some emails that I had from the executive director, and just figured out Mr. Vance just didn't realize that the charter went with both applications. And Sunnybrook did what it was supposed to do at the time, but it was simple oversight. So we asked that those taxes be removed, voided, whatever has to happen. I don't believe any sales have occurred, but obviously we asked that the two parcels be treated as exempt from 2021 forward.
All right, thank you, Adam. Mike, if you would, appreciate you and Adam working on this together, and resolving the issue.
Good morning, board. Excuse my voice. So, I'll clear up the things that you left out. So the first problem started at the beginning, as it usually do, when Sunnybrook wanted to exempt 3 different parcels. But they only submitted 2 exempt applications. So one parcel, there are a lot of numbers, if I could just say parcel number 7. Parcel number 7, owned by Sunnybrook, was in a separate tax exemption request. 2 parcels, parcels 2.0 and parcels 2.1 were combined and put in a separate second tax exemption application. So we were back then, this is 21, we said, if you own all 3 of them and they're all tax exempt, why'd you put them in together? But it was a legal structure issue by their lawyer, because one was owned by an LLC, but irrespective, it was exempt. So the board in 21 just approved the number 7, set it on exempt, and we said at the time we need more documentation, clarification on parcels 2.0, 2.1. But we said, when we get them, we'll approve it subject to receipt of the documentation. So that's 2021. So as he said, Mr. Gates said, Sunnybrook did in due diligence, they submitted the documentation, Secretary of State's office, to Mr. Vance. And Mr. Vance very likely just didn't alert the board, that the documentation was here, and it continued on the tax assessor's role as not exempt. So they received tax bills in 22, 23, and in 24 they came back.
Right.
And they said, oh, you never exempted parcels 2.0, 2.1. That's when I came to the board in 24, and you approved the exemption of those 2 parcels to begin in January 25. So we have a 3-year lapse, 22, 23, 24, when the 2.0 and 2.1 should have been exempt, and they really were exempt, but it was never executed on the tax rolls. So they would continue getting. So we're here today because they got a notice from the Chancellor Clerk that 2.0, 2.1 will be sold as a tax sale in August 2025. So they got alerted, they're here today. So I would say to you that usually we don't go back and allow tax exemption in arrears unless there's a mistake by the county. And I submit to you there is a mistake by the county. So this should have been done in 22, all 3 parcels, because they did submit the documentation. We just missed it, or Mr. Vance missed it, or whatever. So I'd say to you that I recommend that we go back now and affirm that parcels 2.0 and 2.1 by Sunnybrook, all 3 are owned by Sunnybrook, they always were. So I recommend that we grant them in arrears, tax exemption for 22, 23, and 24. And these lands were sold. They were sold, meaning an entity came in and paid the taxes.
Right.
So unless there are, if we don't do something today, those 2 parcels will be sold to the person that paid the taxes in August 25. So I recommend that we go back and rescind, well, not rescind, we go back and we document that these are taxes and parcels 2.0, 2.1. They always were. The taxes were not owed. And so we have to go back, once you do this, if you do vote for it, we have to go back and rebate the purchase price for whoever purchased it plus interest. And I believe that we'll do that, and we should do that because it's our error. So I recommend that we do that.
I'll make that motion.
I got a motion Supervisor Banks, and I'll second it for a little further discussion. But the motion should actually exempt, or go back and exempt taxes from 22, 23,
22, 23, and 24.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, and that's your motion, Ms. Banks.
Yeah, and of course, paying back the person who. with interest.
Purchase price,
The purchase
With interest.
price.
refund the purchase price plus whatever
Plus whatever
interest
interest
is
occurred.
owed to the purchaser. There are two purchasers for each parcel.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, one purchaser for each parcel.
And that motion is made on behalf of Supervisor Banks. I'll second it, and with this being due to there being an error
Yeah.
at that point. So,
Error by the county.
by the county,
Yes.
Okay, other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Gates. All right, moving down to consent items. Are there any items that like to be removed from the consent? If not, I'll make a motion for approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second Supervisor Banks, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Next, Supervisor Griffin.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that, we direct our county administrator, our lawyer, and our engineer to, prepare an RFP for Highway 43 North, sanitation sewage engineering.
Okay, got a motion Supervisor Griffin. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second Supervisor Banks, and basically what this motion does was start putting action, with this committee to bring back to this board some recommendations on, how to move, how to get this sewer line, started and moving forward north of, Canton,
Yes, basically
of
from
43.
Canton High North.
Okay,
And kind of bring you up, I see you looking kind of puzzled there, Casey. No, we applied for a grant for this, right at the end of the past administration, federal administration. And those grants didn't come through. So now we're looking to really have a project, so, we can go after USDA and any other type monies that we can look at, moving, this project along, because that area in the northern part of the county will grow slowly if we don't have sanitary sewage in that area. And so this is putting that committee together that we have to do if we plan on getting federal money. This is a federal requirement that we do RFP and give all the engineers opportunity to apply for it.
all right, other discussion?
So this doesn't commit us to spending any money, this is just laying the
Yeah.
groundwork to be able to say,
Yeah.
we have a plan,
Yeah,
and we would like money for this, federal, state, whatever.
that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay. All right, coming down to business items, Mr. Tim Bryan. Always look forward to hearing from engineers, especially on road projects that's, very much needed for Madison County.
Well, we got a lot of them this morning.
Good.
This is our quarterly update from all our engineers for our round of road projects that we awarded this, I guess it was about the first of this year. So with that being said, our first engineering project update will be Calhoun Station Parkway. It looks like Brad Ingles with Stantec will give us that update.
Okay, Mr. Ingles? We always love
Love
maps.
picture.
Yeah, nothing like some pictures.
If if we was actually up to date in this boardroom, we would be able to put them on the screen and let everyone else see them. Maybe we'll get there one day.
Yeah, maybe we'll get there.
Good morning, members of the board. Thank y'all for having us here this morning. My name is Brad Ingles. I'm with Stan Tech Consultant Services. We are working on the Calhoun Station Parkway project. This project's approximately 2-mile project on Calhoun Station from Stout Road to Highway 22. What we're doing is reconstructing it from an existing 2-lane to a 3-lane road. To date, we've submitted the draft final plans and contract documents, working on permitting. Intend to have this project hopefully out for bid before the next board meeting. So that's kind of where we stand right now.
So it's gonna continue to be a 2-lane?
3-lane.
Three-lane?
We're converting it to a 3-lane roadway to be able to
And-
stay within the right of way with that
So you're expecting for it to go out for construction?
this year. Hopefully we'll
This
get this thing. Permitting process is typically 30, 60 days. So depending on that, hopefully we'll have this out for bid before the next quarterly
So is
meeting.
this gonna provide a turn lane? as
This
the
will be a center
lane?
turn lane, yes, sir.
Okay. I didn't know if it was, 2 lanes going one direction, that typically
Yeah,
backs up.
that's, it's 1 lane each direction with a center 2-way left turn lane.
Okay. Is it gonna be I don't know the engineering term, but are there going to be curbs in here that prevent, head-on collisions where you go in and you come out at designated areas? Or is it just gonna be, in the
No-
vernacular, a suicide lane?
Regular suicide lane, and no median opens or anything like that. It's regular suicide lane, open ditches. And the reason we're doing that in case, future further expansions that the county may want to, as it develops out there,
Yeah.
allowing that to be able to widen in the future if it is needed.
Just curious.
And I know maybe ahead of time by asking this question, but the construction of this would be approximately how long?
Construction, probably looking at close to a year, probably
Okay,
200.
I know that's just an estimate at this point, but, okay,
Should be
that's a good
less.
deal. Other questions? All right, thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
Appreciate the pictures
Yes,
and maps
sir.
of it as well.
And at this point with that project, we don't know where we'll need the median openings, so we're putting the turn lane the entire way.
Yeah.
If we get out there and, this area builds out and we see the need that, we need a median, there's always the option in the future to add that lane.
Good.
To add the curb and gutter and the center median back in there, if there's a safety need for that in the future.
And Tim, if you will, tell us where the starting point and the ending point is for this project.
It's gonna begin at Stout Road and go to Highway 22.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Next engineering update is Stribling Road from 463 to DeWeese. That is gonna be given by Garver. And Shannon's here to present that for them.
Good morning.
Good morning.
As Tim mentioned, my name is Shannon Wells with Garver, and the project that I'm working for the county on is Stribling Road between Highway 463 and DeWeese Road. Since I spoke to you last on environmental, that we are pretty much substantially complete with the report, and it will be submitted to the Corps pending a couple of final design items, but we're pretty much there. We do have written clearance from Archives and History on cultural resources, so that hurdle is clear. Geotechnical and traffic, we've completed those reports. Specifically regarding traffic, the analysis supports a 5-lane configuration throughout the entire segment of the project. And I think I mentioned that at the last update, but also intersection improvements at Camden Crossing, which is the entrance into Lake Caroline on the east end of this project. If you recall, the last time I spoke with you, we were in the very early stages of considering maybe on the west end of the job, reducing to 3 lanes. However, considering multiple factors after that, taking a deeper dive, we decided that the 5-lane section that you originally planned is the preferred, most optimal section for the project. connecting to what MDOT is proposing at Highway 463, which my understanding will undergo construction May of 2026 when school lets out. Based on the 5-lane, our roadway model is about 75% complete, and we're well into the storm drainage, and we have already begun developing preliminary design drawings of certain items. Regarding utilities, back in early May, we had separate meetings with each respective utility company that is affected by the project. And with the exception of Overhead Power, each company mentioned that they could design and relocate their facilities within 6 months of being provided preliminary right-of-way plans, meaning the design may not be 100% complete, but it's complete enough that we know what we need to purchase for right-of-way, which is a pretty fast timeline, 6 months. On power, Energy will begin design once the once the right-of-way is actually purchased by the county. So their timeline is further out, meaning they're in the critical path for advertising the project. But they said that the design is about a 3 to 4 month process, and we'll talk construction timing when we get closer to that point. So on right-of-way, where we're at right now, we're looking at about 40 to 45 parcels affected. And public involvement, I threw in a note that Tim and I met at the beginning of June with Hartfield HOA, conveyed to them that their existing entrance, unrestricted, meaning right and left turns in and out, is not going to be feasible once this project is constructed. Probably not when MDOT's project is constructed either. Alternates were discussed with the HOA. They took them in advisement. So as of now, we'll follow back up to them to see what more ideas they have. Projecting the next 3 months out, the environmental report will be submitted. On the roadway end, if you'll see the schedule, I'm projecting preliminary plans complete at the end of the year. That's the worst case scenario. Hopefully we'll be even before then, but we definitely will be through with the model of the drainage design and begin development of other sheets that are more complicated, like traffic control, maintaining traffic while you build this project, and also the intersection improvements. On utilities, just continue coordination. There's a gas pipeline crossing to permit, which is really not a critical path item, but we'll get that underway. And we'll, before the next 3 months, get a supplemental, which is agreement, which was the original plan for right-of-way to address that phase. And we'll begin the title work for parcels that are affected, as well as begin the boundary survey work for each of those parcels. So as far as the schedule, not a lot of change other than utilities based on that meeting. When we know more about the right-of-way, we'll know more about the rest of the schedule. So that's all I have. If you have any questions.
How many parcels of right-of-way did you say that need
We're
to be purchased?
40 to 45.
Okay.
The number's actually gone down a little bit each time we get further into it, but there could be one on either side because you have to transition to each one of these neighborhoods. There could be some impacts to like entrances and whatnot, not just Lake Caroline. So.
And so you and the county with Tim is working with Hartfield.
Right.
With their entrance.
And there needs to be needed coordination with other HOAs as well, especially if you change their entrance features and whatnot. Just not quite far enough yet to give them any details that they'll want to know. But those meetings are coming.
Okay, good deal. Questions? Good progress. Appreciate it. Thank you, Shannon.
Yes, sir.
Next update we have is the other end of Stribling Road, which is from DeWeese to Catlett. This is going to be Michael Baker project, and Jay is going to give us an update on this one.
Tim.
Morning, Board.
Good
Like I
morning.
said, my
Good
name is
morning,
Jay
Jay.
Stewart with Michael Baker, and we're following up Shannon Garver's job from DeWeese all the way to Catlett. In the past 3 months, we've completed the conceptual plans, submitted to Tim after his review, addressed his comments that he had, and proceeded on with field inspection plans, which currently we are working on the storm drainage. We're doing some retaining wall design and also the traffic control. And which, as far as we have finished the drilling out there for the soil report, and we should be receiving those here shortly. So we'll know how bad the soil is out there. We know it's bad, just how bad.
Right.
Okay, and just a brief update, we are continuing the 5-lane all the way through with, generally adding 1 lane on one side and 2 lanes on the other side, as you can see on the typical, I think it's the 2nd page of that. Which we are doing curb and gutter the entire length. And there are 4 sections of Ashbrook that, in order to minimize the impact actually, I think we're close to hitting several of the houses. We are proposing little short retaining walls to stay as much off their property as we can, if not completely. And we are looking at probably between 10 to 15 going with the retaining walls, we're looking at about 10 to 15 parcels of right-of-way that will be acquired. And which, going forward in the 3rd quarter, we're gonna finish the, quote, field inspection plans, 60% plans. And after Tim reviews that and we meet on that, we'll be able to set our final right-of-way. And at that point in time, we'll go into the, like Shannon said, the supplemental to acquire the right-of-way. So we hope to start that in the 3rd quarter, beginning of the 4th quarter. And environmental, they're doing the report right now. They have nothing has jumped out at them yet. So barring any new surprises, that should be progressing pretty good. And do y'all have any specific questions about the job, or?
Jay, you mentioned 10 or 15 parcels. Is that just for a certain section of that project?
It's just
Or is that for the?
scattered throughout. I mean, it's just.
That's for the whole project?
That's for the whole project, if we do the retaining walls. If we don't do the retaining walls, it'll be probably 40 to 50.
Yeah. Okay.
And the retaining walls will all be pretty short, probably 2 to 5 feet tall. The ready wall, like the block walls, that's what we're looking at this time. And once we get the final design, we can give an cost estimate for those.
So if you do retaining walls, it sounds as if some of those retaining walls would be on property that the county currently
Correct.
have at this point.
We're planning on staying on the existing right-of-way.
Yeah. Okay, and this project starts at the beginning where and ends?
It starts just west of DeWeese and ends on Catlett there at Red Fox.
Okay.
And also, there is a 3rd drawing that shows the realignment of Stribling Road with Catlett coming into it.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. And is that I guess where Catholic comes in on the north side, I guess that's gonna be a signal light there or just a stop sign or?
It's probably just gonna be a stop sign,
Yeah.
because there's very minimal traffic compared to Stribling Road on.
Okay.
Now, that
Questions?
Looks like we're gonna end up having to purchase a house.
Yes, sir. That's the house there on the corner, and that's been my understanding. That's been a take since day one
Yeah.
for this job.
Okay. Other questions? Jay, thank you for the update.
Thank y'all.
All right, now we move over to the east side of the county. Next job we have is the Weisenberger Widening Project, which is a Neil Schaefer job. And Keith is gonna be giving that update.
Thanks, Tim.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Keith O'Keefe and Neil Schaefer. How are y'all doing?
Oh, good.
Good. I do not have an exhibit with me today, but I can assure you we can email that out to each of you this afternoon. So, giving you an update on Weisenberger Road and where we are with that. Accomplished to date, we finished the field survey and the hydraulic survey. We're working on the environmental assessment. wetland delineation is complete. Phase 1 field work is complete, and the hydraulic analysis is ongoing. So we completed the conceptual design for the road. We coordinated with Canadian National, continuing that coordination, as well as MDOT on the railroad impacts. We did get an approval on the purpose and needs statement by MDOT, the Federal Highway Administration, for the environmental assessment, which was really important because that establishes the framework for the environmental assessment. We also filed an SS4A, a Safe Streets for All grant application with MDOT for some safety funds for the intersection with Highway 51. So we're hopeful that we're successful with that. We're on schedule with everything right now. The environmental assessment schedule to be complete June of 2026, with design complete in 2027. Of course, there's a lot of utilities that have to be relocated, so the schedule for bid advertise and award is somewhere between March and June of 2029. That's not changed. Same schedule we've talked about before. In terms of the items that we expect to complete by October 1 of this year, we will hold a public meeting. That's probably going to be next month in August. We're working out a location for that. We'll continue progress on the environmental assessment, data collection, alternative corridor analysis, FEMA impacts. We'll complete the hydraulic study for the bridge, which is going to tell us what the elevation needs to be and how long it needs to be. And then, of course, we'll continue coordination with the railroad. Any questions on Weisenberger?
Yeah, if you, on the safety grant, when do you think we'll hear from that?
Probably November.
Okay,
Keeping our fingers crossed.
right. You know, as we have said from the very beginning, this is probably the shortest length project that we have handed out, but it's probably the most complicated as far as having to work with different vendors or different
Entities.
That's right, that's along that way. If you would, please give update to the city of Gluckstadt as well.
Absolutely.
Keep them updated as well. I know the mayor there and I talk off and on. And this project is always centered and upfront, you know, with his interest or their interest.
Right.
As well.
Right.
So if you would, just reach out to him and maybe give him and the alderman there an update as well.
I'll be glad to.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to let you know, yeah, they are aware, because two things where we're going to have the public meeting is probably going to be either at their new police department
Right.
facility. So they're aware of it, and they're been very helpful to help schedule that. And if not, worst case, we could go to City Hall. We just want to have something in the vicinity of the project. And also, they were aware of the SS4A grant because they signed a letter of recommendation. So we're keeping them aware, and they're, you know,
Okay.
100% engaged and 100% easy to work with and involved in the project, so.
Okay. And while you're up, I don't see it on the list. Any update on Bozeman?
I've got that. Yeah, I was about
Okay,
to
please.
hit that one. Sure. So accomplished to date is the clearing and grubbing for Phase 1. Contractor Hemp Hill Construction is working on the intersection with Gluckstadt Road now, as well as the Cedarmont Drive relocation and the east side of Bozeman Road south of Reunion Parkway. In terms of looking ahead to the next 3 months, Hemp Hill is going to continue working on the intersection with Gluckstadt Road. Then the section from the Reserve Crossing on the east side to Reunion Parkway. And then the northernmost shopping center drive on the west side up to Mansdale Road. So a lot of construction activity ongoing. That's going to continue, making good progress. They're about 15% complete right now with the schedule. Right now, we're looking at a scheduled completion of June 2027. Sounds like a long time off, but there's a lot of work to be done.
What about the intersection at Catholic and Gluckstadt Road?
Catlett and Gluckstadt Road.
Yeah, that's.
Well, that's that's the one that I was talking about in terms of the work ongoing in the southwest quadrant of that intersection. You're probably asking when it's gonna be finished?
Yes,
Hopefully by the end of the year,
yeah, that's been the schedule,
yeah.
and just want to make sure it's still on schedule.
Yeah, you know, we've had a lot of rain, but still,
have.
they've made good progress, so hopefully they'll be finished by the end of the year.
Okay, questions? Okay, I did, Mr. Banks did point that out, that is item 51 on our agenda, Tim, I'm not sure if you had something else in mind, you know, for that, but anyway, that update was on item 51, so we can still talk about it when we get there if you like. Anyway, any other questions for Keith? Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
Appreciate you
Appreciate your
staying.
time.
Thank you. Sorry about getting ahead like we did there.
Well, that was actually something different on 51, but, hey, we can
Okay.
come back to it at 51 if you want another update. Let's see, moving east, next item is, Yandell Road from Highway 51 to Smith Car, and also, the same engineer has Yandell Road from Smith Car to North Old Canton. That is gonna be Wagner, and I believe, Darian and Paul are gonna give those updates.
Okay, Derry? Good morning.
Good morning. Darian Warren with Wagner Engineering, and also have with me Paul Foley with Wagner Engineering.
Okay. Appreciate each one of you being here.
Got pictures, we love pictures.
So we're here to give you all an update on the Yandell Road Improvements Project, in which the project limits are from Highway 51 to Smith Car Road and from Smith Car Road to North Old Canton Road. And so as it stands today in terms of progress, on average for both projects combined, we build about 20% of the overall design budget for this project. And as it relates to actual progress complete, as it relates to all of the design elements, we're about 28% complete. So we're still moving forward in terms of our proposed schedule for the design related to this project. Within the project limits, there were a few structures that we had to take into consideration to be included in the roadway improvements, which were a box culvert within the first segment of the project limits, and then from Smith Car to North Old Canton Road, there were 2 bridges and a corrugated metal pipe 4-barrel crossing that is also being replaced and included in terms of drainage, included in the project design. So as it stands, this project, the roadway is a 2-lane roadway, which is currently being improved to 3-lane, and so our project is coming behind the 3-lane, and we're widening it to a 5-lane, which will be two lane travel lanes in both directions and a continuous turn lane within the project limits. With our overall schedule, we did identify some specific milestones that needed to be completed in order to keep progress moving forward. Some of those milestones were the right-of-way analysis, parcel impact study to determine how many parcels would be impacted, utility provider coordination, the conceptual roadway design, environmental preliminary design, and final design. As it relates to the conceptual roadway design, our schedule originally showed that to be completed in June of this year, but that was actually completed and accomplished in May, actually May 1st of this year. The environmental is ongoing. We anticipate that to be completed by December of this year, but we hope to get ahead of schedule with that and hope for that to be completed by August of this year. And then as it relates to final design, as we continue with utility coordination and utility relocation, final design is anticipated to be completed in December of 2026. So utility coordination, there were 12 utility providers that we identified that we had to coordinate with. which we were able to obtain all of their as-built plans as it relates to their utilities and incorporate that into our design. So the utility coordination has been completed and incorporated in our preliminary design. As it relates to the right-of-way, we've identified 78 parcels that will be impacted by this project.
That for both of those
Yes, combined.
78?
Yes, sir, 78. And just to kind of break that down, there were 18 parcels from Highway 51 to Clarkdale Road. There were 19 identified from Clarkdale to Smith Car. 24 parcels were identified from Smith Car to Johnson Lane, and 17 parcels were identified from Johnson Lane to North Old Canton Road. So again, a total of 78 parcels. As stated, utility coordination has been completed as well as field survey. We recently, along with Tim, we had a coordination meeting with Entergy just to talk over the project limits in our design and how it may impact some of their utilities that may be in conflict, and what we understand an upcoming project that they have scheduled to make some improvements and to relocate some of their structures. So we conducted that meeting with Entergy on July the 8th, and we shared our preliminary plans with them for review, and hope to follow up, or we'll be following up with them here in the next few days just to answer any questions they may have related to our preliminary design. And one other thing as it relates to roadway design, and Paul is going to talk a little bit more about this. We've completed our drainage analysis, in which we've identified all of the outfall points and drainage structures. And so we talked a little bit about the two bridges that I think were installed, constructed a couple of years ago. And so we've completed a hydraulic analysis that has revealed some things to us related to those structures in terms of improvements that we need to have a follow-up technical meeting with Tim to talk through what those alternatives are. But Paul is going to talk a little bit more about that.
Okay, good deal. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning. So as Darian said, the two sections of Yandell, which are one of our projects, specifically with the hydraulic crossing, that's from Smith Car to North Old Canton Road. There's two hydraulic crossings within that segment. There were, as Darian said, they were recently constructed in 2024. We've reached out to the design engineering firm and also coordinated through Tim, received the plans for our model. We found out that the FEMA original hydraulic model was unavailable. I'll try to keep this high level and not too technical. Wagner collected the FEMA restudy hydraulic model for a segment of the portion of the study area, and we duplicated the existing condition model for the study area. The simulated water surface for the 100-year design storm is approximately 2.5 feet higher at the upstream elevation of the bridge, or the lowest member of the chord of the bridge. With widening this bridge from the existing 28 feet to the 68-foot width section to accommodate the 5-lane corridor, we'd be raising that 2.5 feet an additional 1/2 foot. So you'd be looking at 3 feet overall delta within that difference from the existing. The second sheet on our PowerPoint presentation on slide 16 kind of illustrates the existing flood zone and the floodway, specifically at that one hydraulic crossing that we're discussing. And for a recap, the bridge crossing is within a FEMA regulatory floodway, and it will require a no-rise certification or a letter of map revision for the bridge that was replaced in 2024. The current bridge capacity does not meet the MDOT design standard of the 100-year design storm plus 1 foot of freeboard, or the 50-year design storm with 2 feet of freeboard. Widening the bridge from 28 feet to 68 feet will cause an additional rise of approximately 1/2 foot from the existing condition. So this is some, Tim and I, we can coordinate further, get a little further clear direction on how we want to move that forward. We've been talking with our structures group. We have some ideas, alternatives that we'd like to present to the county, but we'll keep that on a technical level with Tim. Just to kind of recap, utility coordination has been completed. We just recently had a face-to-face meeting with Entergy. We've contacted all 12 providers. There's 16 assets within our corridor limits. We anticipate the relocation and adjustments the end of Q1 2027. Geotechnical engineering report has been completed. We just received that about a month ago. Our preliminary engineering phase, we've accelerated the schedule. According to the original schedule, we're looking at completion at the end of this year, but we're actually looking at completion at the end of Q3, which is 3 months ahead of schedule.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
Good
If we
deal.
want to be ahead of schedule.
Thank you.
Paul, Darren, let's focus just for a second from Highway 51 to Clarkdale. That is where the signal light will be at Clarkdale. And that is happening now. Is Keith and Stan still in the house? If not, I guess they give their report. I was really wanting to try to hear and see. Stan, come on up for a minute if you have a second. I just wanted to get a quick update. We're talking about Yandle Road from Highway 51 to Clarkdale.
Yes, sir.
Of course, Yandle Road is very important throughout.
Sure.
It's that first section. Where are we on that one lane that y'all are doing?
Yes, sir. About to have all the right-of-way completed, so we'll be, the next phase, Entergy has been coordinated with both, I guess, both companies, because they got a lot of utilities to move, and other utilities too, so we'll start in the utility relocation. The intersection you're talking about, Clarkdale and Yandell, that signal will be in the 3-lane project, so it'll be, hopefully we're going to get authorization to advertise, first of next year. We just got to move the utilities, and the right-of-way is being completed, so that'll go to construction next year, first part of next year probably.
And that construction is, estimate time would be,
I think we're looking at about 6 to 9 months. We, somewhere in that time frame. I mean, it'll be a working day contract, so it'll be weather dependent, but it won't, it's about a $3 million project, so it won't take a extremely long time.
so by the first quarter of 2027 should be completed.
Oh,
on
yes, sir.
that road.
Yes, sir.
That road should be.
We're hoping that that's gonna be built in 26.
Okay. Paul and Darren, when is the beginning of, I guess, construction for that section for y'all?
The utility coordination and the utility relocation is really driving that, along with the right-of-way acquisition. We identified potentially 78 parcels that need to be looked at. So all that being said, I would say a year and a half out before construction could even start.
So
And
construction,
that's aggressive, I'm sorry.
yeah, construction should be finished on this one lane, and then within a few months, hopefully construction will start
On the 5
with
lane.
5 lanes. is really what I'm trying to see and understand.
Yes, sir. The way our schedule is laid out currently, we show final design and utility relocation for our project being done by first quarter of 2027. So that puts us right behind the current project with the signal agreement.
Even though traffic will continue to move on Yandle, there'll still be a lot of orange barrels,
Yes, a lot.
for the next 4 years,
Yes, sir.
5 years
Yes, sir.
down the road. Questions?
Yeah, let's jump back to the, bridge there. Where you saying that we just built those new bridges about a year and a half ago, and you say you got to widen them, and you need something to keep moving forward. What are you saying that you need there?
We want to just make sure that, we're moving in a direction on the same page with the county and with Tim in terms of how we address those bridges. I think when we originally started out in a discussion for those.
If you would, come up to
What
the mic.
Tim over there, yeah, okay.
When we started talking about the scope of this project, we were made aware that those bridges were new, fairly new. And so, the discussion initially was not having to replace those bridges, completely replace those bridges if
Definitely don't
not
want
necessary.
to replace it.
So the discussion was widening, just widening those bridges in place. But with the recent study conducted by our team and the concern of the rise in elevation of the floodway, typically you could do a no-rise certification when you're building a structure or retrofitting a structure within a floodway to say that you won't cause a rise in that elevation. But we, based on our hydraulic analysis, we couldn't submit that certification. So now the discussion is, what are our other alternatives outside of just widening those structures and still possibly not have to completely replace them. And that's what we wanted to talk more in detail with Tim about.
Tim,
Okay.
if you will, make sure you make yourself available.
We will, we'll get together. Sounds like we gotta raise the bridge deck a little bit, but there's several options to do that.
Okay, you talking about raise the bridge?
Yeah.
It takes something to raise the bridge.
Well, it does, but that's why we're engineers. We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We just don't want that bridge to be a stall.
No,
stall in the project.
We'll get it.
All right, sound great.
Tim, also, I know there's flooding issues right north
Just
of
raise it
Yandell.
up.
On, what's the name of the road right north of Yandell?
You talking about Smith Car?
North Oak
No,
Sideway.
Sidewell.
Sideway.
Oh,
Will this,
yeah, it runs parallel.
will this help the flooding at all, what we're doing?
No, what they're talking about with raising the bridge would basically make no change to anything out there.
Well, I'm just more or less talking about the project in general, not necessarily this bridge, but.
No,
will it help
what they're doing is to make sure that this project changes nothing from one side of the road to the other side of the road.
Okay, got it. Other questions? Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Darren?
Thank you.
Subside the flood issue, so we gotta do.
All right.
Moving east, the next project is the intersection of North Old Canton and Yandell Road. This is more than just an intersection project. It also has two bridges that are included with it. This project's being done by Benchmark, and I believe Lon is presenting this. All right.
Morning, Board.
Good morning.
As Tim mentioned, I'm Lon Burt with Benchmark Engineering and Surveying. I'll be giving you the project update for the Yandell Road at North Old Canton Road intersection. To date, we've completed our survey work. We've completed roadway and bridge geotechnical and our bridge hydraulics. We're currently working on field review plans for the intersection as well as bridge replacement and widening plans for the two bridges, one on Yandell Road and one on North Old Canton Road. The bridge on Yandell Road, we currently plan to widen. This will go from the existing 28-foot bridge to just under a 90-foot bridge, including the shoulders on the bridge to account for the federal and MDOT design standards for the new roadway, given that it is a LPA project. Our environmental studies are underway. The cultural is expected to start, I believe, this week. Wetlands and other waters report has been completed. We had to get an extension on our environmental deadline, given the time elapsed and due date on that. We expect environmental to be completed this year by December, but hopefully before. In the next couple of months, before the next reporting period, we plan to have bridge plans ready to advertise. We expect to have a field review meeting with MDOT on the intersection portion of the project, and we expect to begin the right-of-way acquisition phase. I believe you have a supplemental agreement for the right-of-way in your board packet. We currently anticipate 10 parcels with a mixed A1, C2, and residential zoning, excuse me. In the board package, you'll also notice the exhibit Yandle Road will be widened to a 5-lane section with curb and gutter, with one of the bridges being in that section. North Old Canton will be widened to account for the left turn lanes at the intersection, and the stream that is connected or regarding the 2 bridges on the project will be realigned to help further reduce undermining and scour, given the existing stream pretty much takes a 90-degree turn at North Old Canton Road Bridge, and when you widen those bridges out, it exaggerates the issue. That's our update. Is there any questions about the projects?
Yeah, it may be a little premature question, but talking about the bridges, have y'all thought, are you prepared to maybe keep the road open at that point while y'all are working on the bridge?
Yes, sir. We've thought through the constructability of it, and either we've talked with Tim about either phasing the bridges or either having a short detour right there at the intersection. Be a very short detour if that were the
Okay.
plan.
Please have a way for the people to keep traveling. Cause Trey don't wanna get all them phone calls that they blocking that road and can't go around.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so, all right, other questions? All right, thank you.
Thank y'all.
We're gonna do those bridges one at a time.
One at a time?
Yep, but there is gonna be a short detour, but it's gonna be very minimal.
Okay.
And so, those bridges are gonna be coming pretty soon. Probably the next 3 or 4 months, we're gonna start constructing the first one.
Hey, the quicker the better.
Yep, we wanna have the bridges done before the LPA project starts with the intersection itself. So those are gonna be coming pretty soon. All right, next 2 projects are Yandell Road from North Old Canton east to Bainbridge, and then Bainbridge to Highway 43. Both of these projects are being designed by Pickering. I believe Rick is gonna be speaking on those 2 for us.
I brought personal exhibits for everybody this morning.
Oh, man, no picture.
That's it.
There's a picture in there, there's pictures in there. Good morning, as Tim said, my name is Rick Ferguson, I work with Pickering. We are the engineers for the, both phases, or both sections of Yandell, from Old Canton to Bainbridge, Bainbridge to 43. First project I'll talk about is what we call the Yandell West segment, which is Old Canton to Bainbridge. We had a lot of progress during the past reporting period. As you can see, we completed our right-of-way survey.
All right.
Completed our property survey. We did complete our wetland delineation. There, we did find there's about a 1/4 acre of wetland impacts. We've sent that information off to the Corps of Engineers and let them make the determination if it's going to be jurisdictional. If it's jurisdictional, we anticipate all you will need is a nationwide permit. There won't be any mitigation or anything like that. We have completed, as part of the, for the environmental, we have completed our noise study field work and our modeling. And the big milestone that we got the first part of July is we submitted field review plans to Tim for review. Once he completes his review on that, we'll have a sit-down meeting, go over his comments, and then we'll get surveyors to stake everything out in the field, and we'll go out and look everything on the ground and make sure what we're proposing is what everybody wants. I will add that from between me submitting this report to Tim last week and now did reach out, or I heard from Burns County Dennis, the geotechnical field work on this section of Yandell, the west segment, has been completed, and they're continuing to move east. As it turns out, they're doing all the geotech work from a bunch of these projects, so they've been attacking this from a west to east. So our project, our geotech, from a schedule standpoint, is a little bit behind schedule, but it's the logistics of it, they're moving everything from west to east. For the next reporting period, we will have our field review. We will start, once that right-of-way is complete or approved, we will start our property map and acquisition plats and deeds. From hearing Lon's report, you know, they're just to do the same thing. So we'll need to make sure that we coordinate with them with their right-of-way acquisition. Since our two projects do intersect, we need to make sure that we're not splitting an acquisition parcel in half or anything like that. So we need to coordinate. We'll coordinate with them, make sure if there's whatever property that needs to be bought for a single landowner, it's done for both projects under one acquisition, and we're not splitting anything up. We will complete the noise study and the geotechnical investigation, get the final report. Part of that is there's going to be some base repair out there at Yandell's, and there's some areas that they're going to have to do some repair work on. And then we'll start work moving toward final plans at that point. Moving to the east segment, this project is it's a bigger project. We have completed a right-of-way and property survey on that. What we did find is the right-of-way on that segment of Yandell Road is sketchy. There's not really any instrument that dedicates the right-of-way width. So the right-of-way width is basically based on the individual deeds of the individual properties. Sometimes the right-of-way is 100 feet wide, sometimes it's 70 feet wide. So there could be some potential title work there that'll have to clean that up. And you've heard me discuss the intersection at 43. Everything on the east side of the road is the Natchez Trace, the park property. Well, according to the deeds, the road was built on park property. So that's something that we're going to have to work through to coordinate with the Eastern Federal Lands and that kind of stuff to figure out what's our best option moving forward there. We've completed the wetland delineation and also the noise study and field work and modeling on that segment too. It's, as far as the noise study, it's a rural section of road. We don't anticipate any issues there. The geotechnical investigations will be completed on that east segment in the upcoming period, and we're scheduled for a field review submittal on the east segment late this year, so we're on schedule on both projects. So that's what I got. Any questions?
Ricky was talking about the park property there close to Highway 43.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all know how much land that the road is currently on? Natchez Trace
I don't
property?
have I could get you that number to find out exactly how much of the road is on that property. I can get you that number. But that's basically what we determined from our deed research and plotting everything out. And
have y'all had a chance to talk with utility companies?
Other than some of our preliminary discussions, we do have a lot of utilities out there, and we're getting the same message that all the other firms are getting. A lot of them want to wait until the right-of-way acquisition is well underway or complete before they start any of their work.
Okay.
All right.
Any questions?
Nothing, but that's an interesting part of the road too, because by looking at it now, you see there's a lot of yazoo clay.
Yes, sir.
So,
yeah, there's going to be significant base repairs on that east section.
yeah, all right. I hope we gonna fix that one and for all though.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Rick.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate the update. Tim? That's all of the updates from the engineers. I would like to say that is all the updates from the engineers on the projects. And gentlemen, we appreciate y'all coming each quarter and giving us an update, because that is, everybody is making progress, and that's what we want, is continued progress being made. There will always be some challenges, such as we just heard, with the parkway. But, those challenges we'll overcome them and move forward. So,
Yeah.
Tim, appreciate you bringing them.
Before you go, I just want to make a statement to a lot of the public that might not know. These roads are part of the $215 million bond that the board supervisor took on, earlier in the year to fix infrastructure all around the county.
All right, thank you.
And we've got others going on. We've got Bozeman
Yeah.
going on. We've got Reunion 2 going on.
We do.
And as everybody can see on the interstate, we hung beams last week. So thank goodness that's done. 'Cause that was nighttime work, and it went very smoothly. We had a lot of coordination with a lot of public agencies and had a lot of help on that. But it's over, and it went great. So
And when Tim said "we," that means Tim was out there.
I was out there.
At 11:30, 12, 1, I'm not sure.
It was 11 to about 4
And
for
appreciate you.
several nights. But we got it done.
Yes.
There's a lot of help from a lot of different police departments, public agencies that coordinated with that. So we do have a citizen here today that missed our sign-in sheet, but she was here last week, Miss Griffin at 114 Channing Circle. She had a sinkhole in her yard, and she brought it before the board, and Supervisor Griffin asked me to look at it and bring it back before the board. The sinkhole is in her backyard, and it does not drain public water. It just drains her backyard and the surrounding backyards. In a normal situation, this would not be something that the county fixed. But we have fixed it in the past because there's foam in the pipe itself. So that's the difference in this one and just a normal situation. So I'm coming before the board, asking the board what you would like to do. Would you like to fix it again, since the fix we did previously did not hold, or would we like to not fix it because typically this is something that we don't fix because it's not draining public water?
What is your recommendation? I mean,
That's a board decision.
We
It's-
repaired it the first time.
Yeah.
It was prior to my being here, so,
Okay.
in the first place, I would have said no. But since it was done, I would say fix it again because it didn't hold. But
My motion is to, direct Tim to bring her back 2 quotes.
All right, we got a motion on the floor.
Just fix it. Well, motion to just fix it, that would cost it.
Second motion.
Got a motion Supervisor Griffith, second Supervisor Banks. My question though is from a legal point for the board, what information do we have to put in our records to be able to repair this? Instead of just repairing it on private property.
Well, the only thing I have is we've repaired it before.
And it's a big pipe there, right?
It's a 24-inch pipe, I believe.
It's affecting
That water going through that pipe for some reason or another.
It's affecting multiple properties.
It's
not
affecting
just
multiple
one.
properties, but
Yeah.
But I still need to hear, I would like to hear something from you.
it is draining,
and
it
the
is not
attorney.
draining public water.
Did what?
It is not draining
You
public water.
don't know it's not draining public water, cause there's a big pipe going through there, and that water could be coming anywhere.
It's coming from somewhere.
It ain't just coming from her yard.
It is not just draining it is not just draining her yard, you're correct. It's draining all the backyards of that block that you can see in there.
It'll make it public.
I'm gonna make a substitute motion
Okay?
to table it to the next board meeting for you to bring the board back, information that we can put in our records, to be able to repair this sinkhole.
And let him work with Mike to find the language.
Yes.
Let's find the language, okay?
Yeah. If it's out there, and if it's the county's, causing this problem, yeah, we need to, bring something back to be able to put in our records.
All right.
That's gonna be my motion on the floor. Do I have a second? It died because of lack of second.
I'll second.
All right, we
It
do
did
have a second.
already.
It died.
Oh, well, never mind.
No, you can still
He
second.
already killed it already.
I'm sorry, I was taking notes.
Did you second it?
Yeah.
Okay, we got a motion second for Tim to bring something back at the next board meeting, for our minutes after he and, Attorney Espy look at it and see, if it's actually caused by the county. So, guys, any discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion fails, majority. All right, we go back to the original motion, which is to go and repair it.
Yeah.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? No.
Okay.
That motion fails.
That motion
So guys, we right back
We're
from where we start. So I won't even say a motion.
How, Tim, you know, this sinkhole, if I hadn't seen it, has it, we done anything, or has anybody did anything to make sure that children or somebody else can't fall into this sinkhole?
No, but we can do that. We can fence it off.
Tim, do we know how this pipe got there? I know we have fixed it in the past, but was this put in by the builder when the neighborhood was built?
Yes, that, you're looking at the neighborhood construction plan, and the highlighted part in yellow is the pipe, and then the orange is a swale that's draining everything to that pipe.
When did we fix this?
Prior to 2016.
So we fixed it over,
Yeah, somewhere in
and when
there.
was the pipe put in? When was the neighborhood built? Do we know that?
I would,
Oh, neighborhood.
I would have to look, you can look, yeah, let me see,
But my concern is
99,
about that, pipe. How big the pipe look, do you know? The big-
about 24 inches in diameter.
Pretty good sized pipe.
Okay, if, we don't fix it, if I was the neighbor, I'd go in there and dig that pipe up out of my yard and patch that hole. And then we'll have problems all over the streets in that neighborhood, because that water got to be coming from streets somewhere and draining through that pipe. That's mine.
Probably don't disagree with that. Only thing, my motion was for Tim and the attorney to look at it and bring it back in 2 weeks.
So
That's really,
does this pipe flow anywhere, so I see it's a pipe and I see that it's highlighted. And I see if you continue over here to the left, it looks like there's an intake over here. And then, or an exit, I don't know. Where does the water, when it hits the pipe, where does it go? Is it go
If you're looking
to a
at your
retaining
page,
pond, or
it runs to the left, out towards the next phase of the neighborhood, and then into a detention pond.
Okay.
All right.
So is the detention pond, is it viable? Has it got issues?
It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've
The
got.
only issue is right there at the inlet in her backyard. Well, there's some,
Go back
it's
to
actually
yours.
impacting a couple other backyards as well, but mostly in her backyard.
all right, I'm gonna go back again with my motion saying that, table it for 2 weeks for, county engineer Tim and our attorney Mike, to look at it and bring something back to the county with more information as far as, possible repair of the sinkhole, to where we can, have some more information to be able to make a better decision. That's my motion. To have a second?
I'll second that again.
Yeah, I got a motion and second discussion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed.
All right.
And in the meantime, Mr. Espy, as far as securing that sinkhole, at this point with the information that we have, we should be able to go out and secure the sinkhole even though it's on private property.
Public nuisance.
Okay.
Exactly.
So Tim is, I think
We'll get
Supervisor
that today.
Griffin or Supervisor Banks mentioned as far as making sure that sinkhole's secure. And if you will, y'all get together and bring us something back next board meeting with, more information. To be able to make a decision. Thank you.
All right.
All right. My next item on the agenda is item 50. We had a bridge deck replacement project that bid on July the 11th. We had 2 bids. The lowest of those bids was BP Construction for a bid of $302,920. We ask that the board award that bid and authorize the board president to sign the contract.
Okay, I'll make a motion to award the bid. Do I have a second? Second Supervisor Banks, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
All right, item 51, Bozeman Road Widening Project. Hempfield Construction is asked to subcontract work to the following subcontractors: AJ Construction, Jeffcoat Fitz Company, Lewis Electric, Simmons Erosion Control, Inc., and Traffic Control Products. And we also ask that the board president be authorized to sign the RPS 1 form for each one of these subcontractors.
Got a motion Supervisor Banks. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second Supervisor Griffin, discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
Next item is a supplemental agreement number 1 for the Varelia Road State Aid Project. This supplemental agreement changes 2 pay items, S403A and S304D, because of the limited availability of the original pay items, and it also increases 2 of the pay items in the project. It results in a net increase to the project of $15,587.29. This will be taken out of the county's state aid funds.
Move.
Got a motion Supervisor Banks. I'll second. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
Next item is supplemental agreement number 2 to the Yandell Road Signal Installation Project. This is the first of many we're going to be getting on the projects that you just got the update on. This is to do the right-of-way acquisition for this particular project. There's 10 parcels on this project, and this supplemental agreement is for $117,975, bringing the total project to $571,384.29.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion Supervisor Griffin. I'll second. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
Final item I have is Lost Rabbit Phase 4B Final Plat. This is 27 lots on 6.82 acres. We do have the letter of credit for the final wearing surface.
All right, do I have a motion?
Move.
Motion Supervisor Banks. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second Supervisor Brandon. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
All right, that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
All right.
All right, item 55, Ms. Sheila Taylor. Good morning.
The Mississippi Association, Justice Court Clerks Association is celebrating 40 years of anniversary, and they've asked each Justice Court to purchase a $100 ad in support, and it will also go toward their educational fund, and it will place the Madison County Justice Court in a directory and ad book. And I was just coming before the board today to see if we could purchase that ad.
Move.
Got a motion Supervisor Banks, second Supervisor Griffin. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no.
Thank y'all very much.
Thank you, Sheila.
All right, have a good one.
Greg?
Morning, Board. I have a few items for you today. Item 56 is the interlocal for tax collection and tax assessing between the county and the town of Flora.
Move.
Got a motion Supervisor Banks, I'll second it. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
there's a typo in the agreement, I noticed. So let's correct it, so you could pass it, and we could correct the typo. There's a couple of typos in the agreement.
Okay.
All right, do we need to correct it now?
We'll put it in the motion.
Yeah, that's fine. I think that'll work.
What are
And
the
all
typ-
it is
what are
it
the
says,
typos?
city of, it's got the wrong city listed.
Yeah.
Because when I was changing the names from Madison to Gluckstadt to Flora to Canton, I missed one, and so it's my fault.
All right, the typo is
And
the
the
wrong
city.
city.
Wrong city, yeah.
Move to change Greg's error.
All right, I'll second that motion to change to
Greg's
the
error.
town of Flora.
And it'll be consistent across the city of Gluckstadt too. I didn't just miss it once. I consistently missed it because I'm very consistent.
Move to change all the Griggs then.
But we're gonna take it one at a time, so we're gonna change the typo with the motion we just made, by a motion of Mr. Banks, I'll second it, to, make sure that it's the town of Flora.
Correct.
Instead of another city, okay? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Item 57.
Same story, same error, actually. I didn't make multiple errors. I just made the same error multiple times.
Yeah,
Okay, Mr. Banks you make a motion to approve for the city of Gluckstadt.
yeah.
And
change Griggs.
change that typo to the city of Gluckstadt.
Just change
I'll
Griggs,
second
yeah.
it. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
All right, item 58 is a request that this board authorize the board president to execute multiple sets of CDBG construction documents. These are the contracts and kind of the paperwork we need to get that CDBG project rolling in the Kearney Park area.
Move.
Move by Supervisor Banks. I'll second. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
All right, item 59. Last week, we opened bids on 2 projects. 59 is for the historic courthouse roof replacement. The architect was here. We opened the bids. The low bid was the Lathan Company at $998,000. So our request is that this board award that bid.
I'll make a motion for approval. Do I have a second?
I'll second that
Second,
motion.
Supervisor Banks. Discussion. All in
To fix
favor?
the roof one more time.
To repair the roof one more time. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
All right, item 60. Also last week, we opened the bid for the circuit court renovation and addition. We received multiple bidders. I think there was about 9 total. A lot of interest in what I believe is going to be a very, very needed project. The architect is here, Mr. Bagley with JH&H. The bid tab is attached in your board packet. The apparent low bidder is Sullivan Enterprise. And our request is that this board award the bid, including alternate 1, to Sullivan Enterprise in the amount of $16.83 million.
Ms. Banks makes a motion for approval with the alternate.
Including the alternate, which is
Including the
just
alternate.
the,
I'll second it
paving
for a little
commission.
further discussion.
Where's Southern Enterprise from?
McGee.
McGee, Mississippi?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay.
And this total project is 16.3 or 4
.83 including the alternate, yes, sir.
including the alternate.
Yes, sir. It's 16.4 without the alternate, 430,000 with the alternate, and that alternate is repaving this southwest corner of the parking lot over there, because after they lay all the materials down over there, the parking lot's gonna be rubbish.
So it's roughly 16.8 million.
Yes, sir.
From what I see on the tab. And I'm gonna follow up with Supervisor Griffin. The company that we awarded this bid to, could you tell us a little bit about that company? Because since this is a $16 million project.
Yes, sir, we've worked with this company before, and also we have a list of references that I've passed on to Greg. And I've talked to 3 of those individuals in those references, and all of them assured us that on their previous project, they were very successful in it and did keep them up to date. So it's our recommendation also to you guys to accept this bid and move forward.
If you would, let's put those references in the minutes as well.
Yes, sir.
And this project should start when?
We'll probably get some contracts to you at the next board meeting, and then we're probably looking at 15 to 30 days to get it started, because we do have some groundwork to do here, some housekeeping to get things moving.
So within the next 45 to 60 days?
Yes, sir.
It should start.
Yes, sir.
Okay, other questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. This is a much-needed project, and it's taken us 8 years to get here, but hey, we're here. So, thank you, Paul. Appreciate you.
Greg, is the circuit judges moved already?
They are not moved yet. As part of this project and included in that bid of the 16.4, we'll be bidding out the remainder of the old Fred space, which we are converting into temporary circuit court space. So that will be the first domino to fall in the circuit court renovation. We've got to build that out, which is the first step in that project, all one contractor, all one project. Once it's built out, we can completely empty the circuit court building, which is how it will remain for at least the next 18 months while they renovate and add. Once the renovation is completed, we will move them back from the former Fred's into their home.
All right, sounds good.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for that plan. All right, Nassan?
Good morning.
Good morning.
The first item I have for you is the budget amendments and the interfund cash transfers.
Make a motion for approval. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Supervisor Banks. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
The next two items is a general claims docket and one payroll docket.
Move.
Got a motion, Supervisor Banks. Do I have a second? I'll second. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
Number 64 is the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Move.
Motion by Supervisor Banks. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second, Supervisor Brandon. Discussion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed. Supervisor Banks, take
Yes,
item
sir.
65, please.
All right. Item 65.
Yes, sir, that is the last one for the Fleet Corps claim docket.
We have a motion to pay the gas.
Pay for the gas.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Ronnie, Lott.
Nothing, Mr. Vice President.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Sheriff Randy Tucker.
Nothing today, sir.
Oh, good. Old business, nothing. New business. Move to adjourn.
Oh, hey, I like that. You, so close.
Yeah, you were close. Sorry, I do have one item of new business, and I apologize for this, and I would not bring it to you if it wasn't important. Comcast has brought us a permit late Friday afternoon for Way Road to install fiber as part of their project for the rural broadband. And they said if we didn't get it on here, it was gonna hold them up on their deadlines to meet their deadline for getting part of their stuff done. So I bring it before you. It's they're boring 7,000 feet of 2-inch conduit along Way Road it's north of, let's see. It is north of Davis Crossing, so it's 7,000 feet from Davis Crossing north, 7,000 feet on the west side of the road. So they asked.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We want them to meet their deadline.
Yep.
Got a motion by Supervisor Griffin, and both supervisors second it, so, I'll just second that motion. And we'll move forward. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, Tim. And Greg, I think we need to, yeah, but we need to adjourn.
Until the 24th at 9:30, which is
Yeah, 2 days
Thursday.
from now.
24th to 9:30 for our, budget hearing.
Budget hearing, yeah.
All right, I can make that motion to have a second.
I'll second
Second,
that
Supervisor
motion.
Banks,
Second that
discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.